Space has fascinated us for years. New interesting discoveries are constantly being made, not just showing us how small we are, but giving us an insight into the wonders of our universe. It's likely that within many of our lifetimes we'll see humans on the Red Planet, as these missions are going to happen within the next 10 years. Jim Bridenstine said the following about the upcoming mission. "We are working right now to put together a comprehensive plan on how we could conduct a Mars mission using the technologies that we will be proving at the Moon." End quote. Unfortunately, despite these new claims, and this new rush to beat the SpaceX's Mars colonization developments, a report has surfaced from the Science and Technology Policy Institute. The detailed information and proof to be provided to the United States Congress that supported the conclusion that NASA does not have the technology and infrastructure to sustain or craft a Mars mission whatsoever by the year 2033. The report also assumed that even if the NASA budget was treated as an unlimited resource, the time constraints in the project specifications would be impossible to meet, with NASA's current employee numbers, work output and overall technological advancements. The report detailed the following. "We find that even without budget constraints, a Mars 2033 orbital mission cannot be realistically scheduled under NASA's current and notional plan." End quote. Despite this report, and additional supporting claims by other corporate space agencies criticizing NASA's developments, the organization still feels capable of supporting a 2033 Mars mission, and says it will use a number of Martian rovers to gather complex information on water gathering techniques and soil samples on the Red Planet to decide what course of action will be best for human colonization. Recently, NASA captured an interesting object close to our Sun. In recent years, this object has become known as the Cube, and theories for what it is ranges from an unidentified flying object to camera anomalies. NASA have pointed out that these objects are nothing of interest, have nothing to do with unidentified flying objects, and have said there's no need for further explanation, as what we are looking at is something like a glitch in the data. However, not everyone agrees with this idea. In fact, another one of these cubes has just showed up at the Sun, and right away UFO believers started to share the image. The image shows what looks like a giant cube close to the surface of the Sun, with some saying it looks like solar rays are causing the object to look a little faded. And as mentioned on NASA's website, the joint NASA-ESA Solar and Heliospheric Observatory mission, SOHO, was designed to study the Sun inside out, from its internal structure, to the extensive outer atmosphere, to the solar wind that blows across the solar system. Launched in December 1995, SOHO was meant to operate until 1998, but it's been so successful that ESA and NASA have endorsed several mission extensions over the past 2 decades, allowing it to cover multiple solar circles. As believers pointed out though, these mysterious cubes keep making appearance close to the Sun, with one researcher saying that in one of these images it looks like the cube is interacting with the Sun. One user who saw the image said the following. "This image looks strange because it appears it's being blacked out. We've seen this time and time again on places like Google Earth, but now it appears to be happening in space. Something is clearly pulling away from the Sun, and even having an effect on it. I'd love to see what's behind it. It's strange that they felt the need to black out whatever was there. In most of these images the cube is by the side of the Sun, but this is one of those times where it actually appears to be having an effect on the Sun." End quote. Others went on to share more images of these mysterious cubes, pointing out that others appear to be embedded inside the Sun, or even interacting with it. As of right now, UFO researchers have said they think these crafts are not from this world, and could even be monitoring our planet and watching human civilization. Interestingly, those who have studied these anomalies have said there's 2 different types. You have this one that looks kind of transparent and cloaked, then the other version that looks like a giant black cube. UFO researchers have said the large transparent cube has a kind of cloak on them. That means it's harder to see them, whereas the black cubes aren't actually a cube, but were actually placed there in order to hide something behind it. Those who've used measuring tools have suggested these giant cubes are hundreds of miles in length. Skywatchers go on to say it's not just the sun where these large objects are seen, but they've also appeared close to our moon as well. As mentioned, amateur researchers who have measured it have said it's massive. But what do scientists make of these anomalies? Firstly, they've said that what people are seeing is definitely not an extraterrestrial ship, and that sometimes space debris can take on different shapes that makes it look like something is not. NASA and other space agencies have said they presented evidence to back this up, and notes that although they look impressive, when NASA's scientists have looked at them, they've always turned out to have a mundane explanation. According to one scientist, they noted that many of these images show these anomalies, and all that people are seeing is glitches in the software, and that it has nothing to do with UFOs. NASA backed this up and said that out of the hundreds of thousands of photographs they've taken, they've never once captured an unidentified flying object. Further saying that another thing that could explain what people are seeing is that of space debris, and when this flies in front of the cameras it gives off the illusion that something is there when it isn't. A Freedom of Information Act was sent to the North Wales Police and asked for details about mysterious creatures, dogmen and other strange canine creatures that may have been encountered within the area. Although this seems like a strange request, and one that likely wouldn't reveal anything, it turns out the North Wales Police admits there's been over 10 reports of dogmen encounters, in which the police have gone on to investigate. The dogman cryptid is more commonly known in the United States, where the majority of encounters happen. However, in recent years residents in the United Kingdom have come forward with their encounters, saying that large humanoid creatures have been seen throughout the area, and noting that they seem to look like a giant wolf, have the ability to walk on 2 legs, are extremely fast, can jump high and are very elusive. These encounters have caused some cryptid researchers to suggest that the dogman isn't just seen in the United States, but rather all across the world. Interestingly, when you start to research the topic, various different accounts and legends tell of these wolf-like creatures. The police said they had investigated upright walking canine creatures, werewolves and dogmen, but said they didn't find anything in their reports, and these incidents shouldn't be taken seriously. The document states that these investigations came under large canine and wolf reports, upright canine reports, bipedal canine reports, werewolf reports, dogman reports and hyena-like canine reports. Residents in the area have been reporting these dogman-like creatures for some time now, and although the police only released this information due to a Freedom of Information Act, it just shows that people are worried about these things and are reporting them to the police. One person described the creature as looking like a large wolf, and said that she encountered it while she was driving home. Although she didn't give a specific region, she said the encounter happened somewhere in Wales, and that she has no idea what it was, going on to say this thing was easily over 6 feet in length, and that it was completely covered in hair. Researchers who have looked into these accounts have said that dogman sightings have also been reported in England, and these go back to the 1600s. A researcher said that one eyewitness saw a dogman back in 1995, saying that a security guard was working a night shift, and reported seeing a large werewolf-like creature running around. Investigators were called in to check out the area, but only found a caravan park. Although they did note that a tree had scratches on it around 7 feet up. Locals also reported seeing the creature, saying that it was large, hairy and had glowing red eyes. This isn't the only place where dogman creatures have been encountered. Another place is that of Pakistan. 2 watchmen reported seeing a mysterious creature they couldn't explain. The reports have come from Pakistan, and the men said it's happening around flea markets. The descriptions have been vague, with one eyewitness saying the creature was black and had red glowing eyes, saying that before encountering it they had a strange sensation. Other locals in the region said that others were coming forward with reports of strange dog-like creatures. Another eyewitness gave a better description and said the creature they saw was a black dog, was able to walk on 2 legs, let out a loud howl, and once again had glowing red eyes. Black dogs with red eyes are not anything new. The black dog is said to be a nocturnal ghost, and in some cases a shapeshifter. It's usually associated with the devil, and is described as a hellhound or a ghost. The general physical features of a black dog or a ghost dog resemble that of a normal dog. However, it's much bigger in size and has glowing eyes. One of the stranger reports surrounding that of the dogman comes from New York. According to the report, a woman had arrived home a few minutes after dusk, while her 2 children aged 2 and 11 were sitting in the back seat. The woman reported that as soon as she stepped out her car, she had a sixth sense that something was watching her. She also said there was no noise coming from any crickets or people nearby. This led her to quickly grab the kids and start rushing them into their house. As she approached the front door, she claimed to hear a loud growl that was described as being deep-toned and similar to that of an angry dog. Before anything else could happen, the woman got herself and her 2 kids in the house and closed and locked the door quickly behind her. It wasn't long before she called the husband to come home quickly because a large animal was outside. When the husband came home, it was discovered by this point in time that the family cat had gone missing, and so the husband went looking around nearby to see if perhaps it was bears or a large wild dog. After a moment of searching, the husband also began to notice a strange silence, only to spot a strange large humanoid animal running through the forest nearby the house. This led to him to take aim at the creature, but it was running too fast and was able to get away. This led to the couple to reporting the encounter as a dogman encounter, as any other explanation was impossible to explain. Unfortunately, their cat was never found. As of today, what these creatures are is still up for debate. Skeptics have said the majority of reports happen during the night, and this can cause people to misidentify everyday animals. However, there aren't any animals in the United Kingdom that match the shape and size of these creatures. Encounters with the dogman are still being reported. Antarctica is a hostile place. A small team of people call this place home, living in government buildings that were placed there years ago. But every year various mysterious discoveries are made in and around Antarctica, with one of the most recent ones being this one, that shows 4 large structures. One person who was looking through Google Earth said they were looking close to Antarctica, and noticed 4 large objects that looked like islands. They said the following: "I usually go on Google Earth and look around our planet. It's an incredible tool that lets you see incredible sights. The other day though, I noticed these strange objects off the coast of Antarctica. I often look at Antarctica, not for any particular reason, mainly because it interests me, and I like to see if there's any geological changes. But I soon spotted these 4 island-like objects, and these were close to the shore. The thing is, I often look around this area, and I haven't noticed these things before. I know Google Earth can sometimes show anomalies, but I have no idea what these things are. They looked huge and just reminded me of islands." End quote. Interestingly, this wasn't the first person to point out these strange structures. Other online viewers also noticed these strange objects close to Antarctica, and soon people started to give their opinions on what they thought the objects were. One person said the following: "I have no idea what these are. Could they have been created by volcanic activity beneath the ocean? They look like phantom islands. End quote. While another person said the following: Antarctica and the area around it are home to many strange things. There's various pyramids that can be found close to Antarctica. In fact, recently someone found a couple of pyramids a few hundred miles away from Antarctica. There's certainly no shortage of strange things going on there. End quote. While skeptics weren't impressed, and said that what we're likely looking at is something like a glitch on Google Earth, saying that in the past similar things have been found. Others though pointed out that due to the very strange things that have been found close to Antarctica, we should at least investigate these things further. It's not just these floating objects that have confused people. On the surface of Antarctica, various different finds have been made, some of which appear to show large-looking structures. One of these was 3 large structures that appears to have a trail to the left. Immediately, theorists started to question what these things were. Some suggested that they might have been a secret outpost, while others said that due to the ice melting, it's revealed some type of ancient monolith, one that could prove that ancient humans made it to Antarctica. As of right now though, these are just theories, and it's tough to get a definitive answer for what these things are. Another interesting discovery that was made by scientists was that of a forest. It's believed by many different researchers from around the world that the continent of Antarctica was once inhabited with a lush green forest, saying that this would have surrounded the entire area. Evidence can be found of this when looking at a team of archaeologists and researchers that led an expedition in Antarctica in November of 2016 that lasted for several months ending in January 2017. The team found incredible evidence of ancient forests in the region. This was after locating and identifying several different traces of fertile growing lands, areas of climate change in the past, as well as large amounts of fossil fragments from ancient trees that dated as far back as more than 260 million years ago. This timeline correlates with one very important event in the past, the Permian Period, also known as the greatest mass extinction event in the history of the world. Before this event, there was much more carbon naturally in the atmosphere, which created lush green forests all around the world. This large amount of carbon allowed many creatures to thrive. It also meant that our planet was able to support larger forms of animal life. It's interesting then to consider this idea that roughly 260 million years ago, the continent of Antarctica would have been a densely populated lush green forest, with a tremendous variation in wildlife and ecosystems. A professor at the University of Wisconsin, known as Dr. Bridenstine, argues that the continent as a whole was much warmer and even more humid than many areas in the modern day. In fact, he has overwhelming evidence that the area would have been close in resemblance to the forests of Siberia. Additionally, at the rate of the burning fossil fuels, of which is reintroducing this carbon into the atmosphere that was lost during the Permian extinction, we will soon be reaching atmospheric conditions, once again of which will allow the continent of Antarctica to be a thriving forest, and this is said to happen within the next few hundred years. Shortly after the expedition that uncovered the fossils of ancient trees in the region, researchers were obsessed with uncovering proof of larger life throughout the area. Back in 2010, researchers used large-scale blasting to blow out layers of surface rock against the Antarctic mountainsides in an effort to uncover possible fossil layers buried deep beneath the glaciers. After several months of searching and mining for fossils, the research team uncovered exactly what they were looking for. It appeared that fossils of ancient dinosaurs inhabiting the region millions of years ago, roughly around the same time as the Permian extinction, were uncovered after going down past the layers of the glacial strait in the region. Bones of another strange creature have been uncovered that is believed to be that of a species of dinosaur, and this one's never been found by scientists. According to their reports, the paleontologists accompanying the research team discovered a densely packed grouping of fossils belonging to different types of dinosaurs, and these were of sauropods. Sauropod skulls are incredibly rare to find, as they were very delicate during the life of the creature, and so a completely intact skull is rare to find in one complete fossilized piece. Luckily for the team, among the densely packed fossils were that of bones, ribs, vertebrae, arms, legs, and a complete skull. Many of these bones have already been rendered in 3D imaging that will help to preserve their finds for years to come. So what do you make of these discoveries? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.